to another episode of the Doomloop Dispatch, the news show that covers the worst parts of the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm Kevin L. Jones, and with me whenever possible is...
D. Scott Miller.
And today we're doing a headline show. We got a bunch of stuff going on, so we thought we'd just go over some news stories and some narratives that, you know, to make sure people are checking in with, following, because there is lots of stuff going on. I would say the first thing I kind of want to dive into is the Brooke Jenkins stuff.
Oh my Lord.
I know it's coming out that she is not a great prosecutor. Actually, I would say she's a very unethical prosecutor for sure, especially because of how she's been operating since she's come into power. So first off, we have the story up here about how she's being accused of being Trump-esque intimidation. Really what she's doing is she's basically doing all she can to avoid judges she doesn't want to work with. And she's actually getting called out for it. There was even a member of the bar who basically resigned because they weren't doing anything about it. But yeah, she is basically, this one judge that's really seeing a lot of it was a former public defender, a guy named where is it? It's Tong. Yes, Judge Tong. Basically, she's like every time Judge Michelle Tong. Anytime a case of Jenkins comes in front of her, she's doing all she can. Jenkins is doing all she can to disqualify the judge. You know, which is just so messed up.
Well, I mean, like, they use the term Trump-esque, but I think that's the misnomer. That is a Trump tactic. That is not it's not Trump-esque at all. Like, you know, and it's a trend, right? Because there are other DAs in other cities that are doing the same thing. They say what they call them activist judges.
Yep.
Right. So the whole concept of the activist judge is totally taken out of not only just the Trump playbook, but the Project 2025 playbook. And so, like, it's troubling to see somebody who hasn't really made a full-throated declaration of being a MAGA or whatever, like, just totally validate a MAGA tactic like this. I mean, like, not that I was expecting a whole lot from Jenkins to begin with, because she is a product of the recalls, you know. So I wasn't really expecting much from her to begin with. And she also got paid to campaign on behalf of the recalls. So that already was a conflict of interest. But, you know, when are you going to become a moderate? Right now, you're not a moderate right now. You know, it's just crazy.
I know. And who is this for? I mean, except I guess the police unions. But honestly, it's basically all they're doing too is like ramping up their misdemeanor trials, you know, and their misdemeanor arrests, which, you know, just puts more people in jail that, like, honestly are just probably desperate, you know, that like the misdemeanors are not that big of a crime, and yet she's overcharging them too. She actually at one point she's charging a person that
stole pizza, right?
and stole $7 worth of toilet
paper. That's what it was.
Holding them in jail without bail, saying it's a felony charge, and seeking 3 years in prison for this person. I mean, seriously, for toilet paper.
Well, that's what Prop 36 was for, right?
Yeah.
You know, Prop 36 is there in order to fill up our jails and get more slave labor. I mean, those two things actually were married together. We talked about that in a very early episode. If anybody wants to link to it, it's in our things. It's a part of our election picks. But we did make that connection that what would happen is just as we predicted, Prop 36 would pass. They didn't stop the anti-slavery ordinance. So what does that mean? It just means more slaves.
Yep.
You know, and so, like, that's what Prop 36 was. And so she's doing exactly what the laws that they put forth were designed to do. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, it's and because especially too, like, during the pandemic, it was seen as an issue that our jails were too full. And that's why Boudin, you know, was voted in and started doing what he was doing, you know. Right. And Jerry Brown, I believe Jerry Brown at the time was the governor, and he was the one that was pushing to let misdemeanor arrestees to go out of jails, because especially if they're not violent criminals, they're just doing time for no reason, and probably making the jail cell environments worse by crowding it.
I was very disappointed when Brown reversed on 47 and supported 36. Because I really thought that he was actually looking at the logic of the decision, and he just kind of like went with the wind on this one.
Yep.
And I mean, and as far as like, we're gonna see a lot of this. I don't know if and ever a reckoning is going to happen, but I mean, like, the only defense right here on this particular one for Jenkins is I was just following orders.
Yep.
And the question is who's ordering you? That really is the question. Who do you actually work for? Because you clearly don't work for the people.
Yes.
So I'm curious to know who's pulling her purse strings on this.
That's such a great point too, especially how much of it is the police unions, wanting to make their jobs worthwhile, basically,
Also justify their existence, justify these ridiculous increases. You guys haven't been able to solve any crimes. What you're going to do is you're just going to turn misdemeanors into felonies. That means if you catch a shoplifter, you're doing your job.
Yep.
So I mean, it's just kind of like it's also a weird psychological thing, which I'm sure we'll get to further as the more we talk about Jenkins.
Yeah. Well, especially too to remember. I mean, when she was working under Boudin, did she follow the rules? Did she follow his directions? No, and we saw that. Especially she would ignore the wishes of the victims' families to just over prosecute someone. Yeah. And now too, I mean, she wants to be like this person that's a representative of good in the city, but she's also too flouting rules she's supposed to uphold. I mean, she's withholding evidence in cases, which is so messed up, because no matter what you think of the legal system, it tries to be equitable, or at least like there are things that should, make it fair and feel just. And if you're withholding evidence, which is a law, like a breaking of the law, I mean, you are undermining the justice system that you're supposed to be upholding.
Yeah, I mean, like, and also, I mean, like, I want to get back to this thing about the motivation, because there is these articles that we're talking about all came out within the last week and a half. Like there's a pressure cooker coming off of Mission Local and places like SF Standard, which you would think that would be more supportive of Jenkins just on the basis of their relationship with Moritz and Larson, and like you would think they'd be more amenable to these things. But everyone is starting to see the fissures. Yeah, I don't think that the Chronicle has actually done anything yet that's actually substantial, but it is something that's actually becoming so evident that nobody can ignore it anymore. It's really strange. I mean, like, when we had what's her name, the last DA before Price. Gosh, I'm blanking on her name.
The last DA before Price, so not Boudin.
No, I'm talking about in Oakland. McNally, what's her name?
I'm forgetting her name.
O'Malley.
O'Malley.
Okay, so O'Malley was a really bad DA, actually, when all is said and done. But nobody covered it. Nobody really paid attention to it. And then you get Price in there, and every little piece of minutia starts hitting up on the East Bay Times or the Chronicle or the Standard. Like all of a sudden, every little piece of minutia. So I think it's really interesting that this is supposed to be their product daughter. Like that's who Jenkins is supposed to be, and for it to actually already be coming up to the surface, bubbling up to the surface, all this intimidation, all of these Prop 36 kind of like fuck arounds that she's doing. Like I find it really interesting. I mean, what's her ambition? I mean, does she think that she's going to be the next Kamala Harris? Is she trying to be the next Kamala Harris?
Oh, good point.
Well, because the thing is, like, you're kind of setting the ship on fire.
Yeah,
it's not like you intend to ride that ship all the way through. It looks like you're setting the ship on fire right with the minute you see whatever shore you think you're going to go to, you're just going to let that ship burn. It's really erratic behavior also.
Well, and it seems, I mean, she just wants to look tough on crime. That's it. Because there is talk of her wanting to run for state attorney general. And so that would be kind of the next step. And but it seems like she's also being sloppy about it. I mean, there's 50 examples of her withholding evidence in misdemeanor cases. I mean, how could people think that's a good thing, you know? But by the way, you make a great point, because it's like, yeah, SF Standard and Mission Local seem to be running critical pieces about Brooke. Chronicle has not. As a matter of fact, I would say they did the opposite, because they literally had the exclusive on Jenkins going after the nonprofit that's misspent millions. It was the Parks nonprofit, San Francisco Parks Alliance.
Yeah.
And of course, this got a lot of headlines and a lot of traction, and it actually led to Lurie cutting off the nonprofit from city funding. So here you go,
so Brooke Jenkins hero. Like, so everyone else is saying, like, is our DA corrupt? Is our DA a MAGA with, like, going against activist judges? And then we have another thing, which actually is a MAGA talking point, which is these crooked nonprofits. These crooked nonprofits that are going on out here. It is this thing where I felt like the allegiance between. I got unfriended, by the way, by London Breed on Facebook. I didn't even notice. I just, like, something popped up and I was like, yo, I'm not highlighted. Like, I saw her name. I'm like, oh, my she's not highlighted. Her name's not highlighted. But the thing is like, this is one of the reasons why I'm critical and remain critical of London Breed. Like, you ushered in this person. Yes. Right. Like, in that and in a whole lot of ways, you ushered in a lot of the people who ended up being in charge of these nonprofits that people are now calling corrupt. Like, your fingerprints are all over these things. And like, I mean, political ambition and transactionalism might be just getting in the way of supposed competence. You know what I mean? I mean, Brooke going after a nonprofit that's crooked is not the same as, like, we have a whole lot of really, like, big time, big money crooks out here in San Francisco and Oakland, and like, so what we're going to do is we're going to take their money and we're going to redirect our attention to places that are supposed nonprofit. It just seems like, like, why are we dealing with 501c3s when we've got these guys who are really doing, like, this crooked ass shit with all this money? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Oh, seriously. I mean, and yeah, there's a lot of you could, you could point out things like, the drug users in the city aren't just the poor on the streets. There's a lot of people, but you don't see those people getting arrested, or going after them.
I mean, as if cocaine is everywhere in San Francisco right now and it's still illegal, as if that's not true,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and also, I mean, like, the guns aren't just coming from one direction. You guys could actually focus more on the guns. A major issue in both of our cities are these really fatal shootings are on the rise. People are getting shot more now. And that means that's a question of getting guns off the street. Like, we're having a gun buyback in Oakland next month. It's going to be a huge one. I haven't seen any kind of talk like that in San Francisco in years.
Yeah.
I haven't, like, and so, like, out here in Oakland, they want to blame the DA for all the crime. But over in San Francisco, the DA is not being blamed for the crimes. The crimes actually have to be manufactured. They have to turn misdemeanors into felonies. You don't have to. There's lots of felonies going on out there. You don't have to do that,
Yeah. Well, and also too, Omar pointed this out. Hyphy Republic. Everyone follow him on Twitter or X.
Oakland Observer also.
Oakland Observer too.
Subscribe to Oakland Observer.
Yeah,
yes.
Especially best place to get what's going on actually in city council meetings and
Absolutely.
stuff.
Yeah.
But he pointed out too, after Price was taken out and Dixon was put in as Alameda County DA, it suddenly went from not, the DA specifically named out, let these people off charges, let these people, like let them out on parole. It was back to the DA's office or just the person being let out. Suddenly, there's no scapegoat being named in the headlines.
And Dixon is actually doing the same thing that Price is doing. I mean, she's under the radar about it, but she is doing plea deals. She's questioning enhancements. Like, when somebody wants to do a gun enhancement or whatever, she's questioning that, just like Price did. Yeah. I mean, like, she hasn't really been that. I know that she's supposed to be the Oakland Police Department's choice, but she hasn't really, as far as the things I've been seeing, as far as what she's been doing almost the exact same job that Pamela Price was doing. She's just not going after the cops. But the plea deals themselves are just like, oh, he's a killer. Why'd you let him free? I mean, if it would have been Price who had done it. Yeah. I do have to do a side note though, because we are talking about DAs and you brought her up.
Oh, let's do it.
There was a kind of shady news conference that took place last week in Oakland with her and the new police chief. I forget his name. And she brought this thing and she said, when she said she lives on Lake Merritt, and when she looks out of her window, she doesn't see anyone walking the lake. And she said, we have to do something about that for public good or blah, 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 blah. And I was like, what is she talking about? Because I live on the lake and I see people on the lake all the time. When she says people, what does she mean? And it took me a minute. I was like, oh my God, does she mean like rich white people? Because we have those people here too. It's just that we have a very diverse lake walk that's going on here. It doesn't look like, you know, a Walmart ad or some shit. Like it's pretty diverse, you know?
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, what is the intent of that? And the thing I started getting nervous about was, and I actually reached out to people on social media, like, what do you think she intends to do if she's saying that there's not enough people on the lake? And someone who I suspect is Gagan Biani of Empower Oakland responded to me. And he was talking about two things, dirt bikers and security guards at the Arizmendi. Over the past, like, say, 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks now, there's been a security guard at Arizmendi, which is the food co-op on Lakeshore. And when I first saw it, I was like, why is there a security guard, right? But I didn't really think anything of it. But when I saw that Empower Oakland was aware of the security guard on Lakeshore, I'm like, well, how does that even happen? So I went and I asked the people over at Arizmendi, I asked a couple of workers. I was like, why did you guys have to get security guards? And I'm going to tell you this almost verbatim. This is just me reporting. Okay, we can call them anonymous sources, but just because I don't know their names. Like, that's the only reason why they'd be anonymous sources. I don't know their names. So what's your name? What's your name? But I asked 2 or 3 workers. I said, why do you guys have security guards now? They said that normal looking people were coming into Arizmendi and picking fights. They said that one guy tried to jump over the counter, and all of this happened days after Barbara Lee won the election.
What? Days after. They said the reason why I thought it was like maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Has it been 2 or 3 weeks? It was the 18th. After the 18th of last month, there was an uptick in aggression and violence in this food co-op on Lakeshore. And I was like, okay, I said, can you clarify? Are you talking about homeless people? Like, no, not homeless people. Like people mentally ill or drug addicts, people just coming up. No, normal looking people you would never suspect are coming in here and picking fights with us. People you would never suspect are trying to jump over the counter and attack our workers. Wow. Are they filming it too? But I was just so gobsmacked. I was just so damn gobsmacked. I mean, I'm sure if I really want, people probably do have some images on their phones. But I was just so gobsmacked when they said normal looking people. I was like, when you say normal looking people, you know what you're talking about. You're talking about Trestle Glenn types. That's what you're talking about. You're talking like Adams Points types. And I don't know why, because like the Pete's doesn't have a security guard. The Phil's Coffee doesn't have a security guard. Like, the not even the weed shop has a security guard. Not even, all those guys are safe. But Arizmendi is actually under attack. And they've been under attack ever since Barbara Lee won the election. Wow. Yeah, man, it's crazy. Did they support Lee? Were they like, did they have signs out in front? Because I know Arizmendi, actually, they have really great pizza, right? Like,
and super soups. The soups are great. Everything's great at Arizmendi. Everything's good. But I eat there about maybe once or twice a week, right?
Yeah.
But it's only on the weekends. Like, so for some reason, when there's a huge influx of people, there are a group of people who are normal looking people who are picking fights with patrons, picking fights with the workers. It's just, and they specifically told me, they said, like, right after the election, that's when it started happening. Right after the election. Weird. Isn't that weird, man?
That's so weird. I hope there's, yeah. Oh, go on.
Oh no! So I mean, like, what I'm trying to put a campaign together for my local people. Like, is this woman proposing sweeps on our lake? Because we have vendors out here, we have musicians out here. But how many of them have her permits? Probably none. But everybody's welcome, and they're all welcoming people themselves. We actually have this gathering of drummers every Saturday. And then on Saturday night, we have people who do this kind of like rave dance party on the lake every Saturday around the rotunda. Every Saturday. Wow. How much of that is permitted? I don't know. I don't know how much of that is permitted. But Empire Oakland is interested. And Dixon, it seems like she might be amenable to it. So I'm trying to get my people together to be like, let's get ready to do some kind of anti-ICE activities if we have to, because that's just some weird shit. It's just weird. And she's beholden to Empower Oakland, even if they lost. So that's something which I'm trying to keep. We staying on the DA story, right? But that's something I'm going to follow up on. So,
that's really interesting too. Yeah. I mean, especially what the lake was the original Karen, right? The barbecue Karen too.
Barbecue Becky. Yeah,
barbecue Becky. That's right.
Yeah, we get them over here.
Oh man, but maybe that's what the whole thing is. It's just we want our lake back or whatever.
But that's what it feels like, man. That's what it feels like. They thought they were going to get it on the election, and when I went back to who I'm assuming is getting on it, because that's just an assumption. Yeah. But what I said was, it's like, you can't do a phase 2 when you lost out on phase 1. Right. Maybe this was what your plan was if you could have deposed all of our council people. If you managed to get rid of Carol Fife, if you had managed to stop Latifah Simon from becoming congressperson, if you had managed Barbara Lee not becoming mayor, this is like a phase 2 act you guys are trying to do. But you didn't get phase 1. So what makes you think you're going to be able to do phase 2? You're not going to be able to do phase 2. And if you try it, the people who stop your phase 1 are going to stop your phase 2.
Exactly. That's why I think they got the OUSD in their sites right now too. Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing the same thing over there, trying.
Yeah, but it's funny. It's a bad pivot. It sounds like
they're all doing bad pivots. We could do a whole show on how many bad pivots and bad takes these guys are doing right now.
Exactly,
it's ridiculous.
We could do a top 10.
Top 10 fails of the AstroTurf Network.
Exactly, it's kind of needed.
It might be. We have a show coming up. We're gonna laugh a lot on that one. That's gonna be a comedy. Everybody should tune in because we're just gonna laugh our asses off.
Totally. Yeah, and we should talk about too, actually, since we're talking about kind of these campaigns to make things seem, worse than they are, to actually draw attention to some certain issue, we got to talk about how Omar was called out by Mayor Lurie.
That was beautiful.
I know, you gotta love it. I mean, seriously.
Do you have any image on that, or me? Because
I'm getting the video up right now.
Okay,
At least this is the one Darcy posted.
Yeah.
It's nice.
It feels good.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing about you doing the videos and push them out, it's help. You can tell me I'm doing it, but
you're doing it. I know you are.
Economy.
Yeah.
Think about we've got other people on Twitter who've been hating on our city for a long time. I know you love it. One thing about you.
So, and the thing to note about that too is the fact that, these guys were basically helping Lurie. These guys were supporting Lurie, Omar and Erica Sandberg. Because Lurie and Mark Farrell, the other candidate that was kind of doing the same, they want the same things. They're talking about crime being the big issue and that kind of stuff. But so it's so funny that he's finally kind of turning on them too, especially
unfortunately he didn't though. He just passed an ordinance called Recovery First that kind of pretty much puts everything back in their pockets. He bent the knee to the Salvation Army, and the Salvation Army is going to get a whole lot of funding for what their abstinence first agenda, But I do think that what has cracked is the level of influence that they're going to have from here on out. And so when he said you're hurting the economy, right?
Yeah.
And that's what the mayor said. Mayor Lurie said you're hurting the economy. And then right after that, Omar had the chance to holler at Gavin Newsom, who actually ignored him entirely. Gavin just kind of looked at him and just moved on. So I think that the street level guys are going to have an issue because it looks like they're getting pushed out. Right. It looks like the street level guys are getting pushed out. Tom Wolf got what he wanted. Right. Yeah. He did. I mean, and like you were saying, like, it's not like we thought Lori was going to be a champion. So it's not like anybody's terribly surprised by it. But I do appreciate that they're going to get pushback every step of the way. You're not going to get everything that you think you're going to get. You're not going to get acquiescence, absolute acquiescence from the mayor. But this Recovery First program is actually anti-harm reduction. And, and it's also pro-abstinence, you know, as if, like, you know, Farrell wasn't an addict, as if, like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, not Farrell, Dorsey.
Oh, Dorsey, yeah.
Yeah, it's not. You understand what that is. You understand what addiction is. Like, did you just decide that you were going to pray it away? Did that work for you? You know, but do you want people to go through withdrawals the way you went through withdrawals? Like, or you know what I mean? How did you do it?
Yeah.
Right. Like nobody's ever bothered to even ask them. How did you do it? Did you pray it away? Because that's what you expect these addicts to do. You expect them to pray it away. Right. You know, so, but I mean, like, but it is good to know that the street level people, and much thanks to Richie Wynn, they're losing their influence.
Yep.
And which means they're not the harassment of everyday citizens or even citizen journalists. It's going to reduce. And that's always a positive. And Gary Tan is pissed about it. He's happy about the decision because they came up with a fake LLC called Drug-Free Sidewalks.
Okay. Yes. I've seen this.
And Drug-Free Sidewalks is a AstroTurf fundraising unit that has dark money. Nobody knows exactly who their funders are. It's coming from a PO box. I didn't have time to look up what the PO box was. I know it's a PO box. I'm hoping the guy is not the same San Rafael PO box that we keep running into. We keep running into the same San Rafael address over and over again. I mean, I'm going to dig a little bit deeper, but I think the Tan has been catching a lot of L's using this AstroTurf model. And so this one was kind of like, you know, a desperate W for him. So, I mean, like, but I mean, I think generally speaking, they're all losing their influence. It's just a matter of time at this point.
Yeah, totally. Well, especially too, I think it's going to be also more of a pay to play as well. I mean, Darcy Bell also pointed out online that basically the whole setup that Lurie is putting into action would allow private donations to be given to his office to deal with drug rehabs and stuff, which that's interesting. You know,
it's interesting. Are you gonna have a Bitcoin dinner? Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. But he's got another like inauguration fund going. Like, what is up here? You know? Yeah, but yeah, I mean, especially the big thing too is, you know, I talked. We're gonna get Lydia Branston on one of these days from the Gubbio Project. I think she's gonna come on as soon as she can, because we got to talk about you know, harm reduction and how it does work, or lead is a great option to have, you know, along with abstinence programs. You need to have it all, especially the big thing that that harm reduction provides is a lot of cost saving measures for people, you know, giving them free, clean needles, giving them a place to stay out of the streets, giving them a place to sleep at times, or to even have their freakouts, you know, that helps the community, you know, like Lydia was telling me that, you know, every time they can deal with an infection before it gets too bad, which is what they do at the Gubbio Project, they're saving the city like $5,000 like per patient. You know, this is these are huge cost saving measures. And she had told me too that, you know, some people need abstinence only. That's fine. It works for them, you know, but there's also just, you know, the reducing of harm. It's not just
and that's what I was just getting ready to say that. Yeah, I was just getting ready to say that. Because if you're anti-harm reduction, you're pro-harm. You're harm production. If you're anti-harm reduction, you're harm production. Like I thought it was a really good example you just used. Like if somebody gets a wound and they can't get to the hospital, if somebody like, you know, can't provide for themselves and their loved one, and you can actually intervene and make sure that that loved one is not taking the full brunt of the other person's issues, right? That's harm reduction. You know what I mean? Like you know, harm reduction is like putting like a things not so you don't slip in the bathtub. That's harm reduction. That little pad, the little suction cup pad you can put on the tub, you don't slip in the tub. That's harm reduction. How can you be against harm reduction? I mean, as a concept, like harm reduction is something that I would love to talk to. I think one of the people who are missing from this conversation, and hopefully we can start discussing more of this later down the line. But I want to talk to the experts. I don't want to talk to recovering addicts.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk to people who are invested in either side of this discussion, harm reduction or abstinence. I need to know from experts, people who have studied this in a scientific way, which one's more effective.
Yes.
What is the percentage that we should be looking towards abstinence, and what is the percentage we should be looking towards harm reduction? I want to talk to the experts. Tom Wolfe is a recovering addict. That does not make you an expert. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. Matt Dorsey is a recovering addict. That does not make you an expert. I want to talk to people who, and also, to be honest about it, people who are doing hospice care, which, I think is probably the most important part of it. I think we should have more hospice care, just generally speaking. And what Gubbio does is sounds like more like hospice care, and which is something you shouldn't even be against. Why would you be against hospice care?
Yeah.
Right. It sounds cruel. It sounds short-sighted. And I'm not even a religious guy, but that shit sounds evil to me. Unchristian. You know what I mean? Like it sounds unchristian to me. So I'm looking forward to being able to really sit down and figure out which one works better, what's the best combination of those two things. And I don't think anybody that is in this conversation right now can give us that information.
Yeah, exactly. Especially somebody like Tom Wolfe, who we know gets funding too to push certain things.
Yes.
He's really getting paid by people like Michael Schellenberger to push a narrative.
Do you remember when Erica Sandberg and those guys laughed at me when I said the dude wanted to be a drug czar?
Yeah.
Here he is being the San Francisco drug czar. I told you he's going to be the San Francisco drug czar. I told you. Here he is now. Here he is, like manning the ship, the Salvation Army ship, getting all of the money. I told you.
Yes. And
he is the San Francisco drug czar now. Congratulations.
Yeah, exactly. Funny how that works.
But
we should point out too. So, the Salvation Army is the big bad guy in this. They're the ones that they only want their program to go through. And the thing is too, is if you search online, hey, does Salvation Army take city money? Does Salvation Army, and they claim that they don't, but that's not true. They literally, for one, and let me bring this up. I'll share this because they have a massive rehab center they want to build in the Soma. They're talking 8 stories? This is going to be hundreds of millions of dollars. And they're going to need the programs, but it's going to be like a rehab facility. Or like a rehab factory,
Factory.
Yeah, exactly.
Or prison.
yeah, exactly. And especially a lot of it too is it's not only Salvation Army is not only about, rehab and that kind of thing, but it's also too, a part of the it's not only abstinence only, but a part of the rehab too is higher power stuff, getting them to convert to their church. And remember too, Salvation Army is a church and tithing is profits. And we should also point out too, and they do take money from the city, or notably actually they took money from BART a few years back. $350,000. So from 2020 to 2022 they took money from BART. And 500 how much was it? 350,000. Yes, 350,000 they took from BART, and they basically stopped one overdose, like one, with that much money. And so do not believe them when they say they don't need funds or they can just depend on their thrift stores. No, they want that city money.
Right. And also, a lot of people don't seem to realize that, people have been boycotting the Salvation Army for easily a decade. Like those little buckets out in front of the grocery store on Christmas.
Yeah.
Like people don't put money in that. Don't put money in that. Because they also are against transitional health. They actually are, and they are enemies to the LGBTQ community, just generally speaking.
Yeah.
So I mean, like it actually is getting in bed with some people who are draconian in their religious values, and how do you think that's going to help? I mean, how do you think that's going to help? Has that kind of Christianity been helpful to this country? Have we benefited from that kind of Christianity? Because I haven't seen those benefits, you know? So, I mean, overall, just generally speaking, the whole idea that you can just turn a blind eye and try to remain innocent about what the Salvation Army actually is and think they're actually going to do this work for the good of the people. Like that right there, that's a willful ignorance. I just think that's a willful ignorance.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. It's like thinking Scientology isn't a scam, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, they just want to help you, like, you know, bring down your stress. And
yeah, you got a center or whatever they call it. Ground yourself. You have to get grounded.
No, it's all, I mean, it's all a business. There's all profits, you know? Yeah. Even when it says nonprofit, trust me, there's somebody getting paid.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though. Is like, you know, there are professionals out there, and those professionals do not work for the Salvation Army.
Yes.
You know, so I mean, like the whole concept that there aren't professional people who are there to help people recover, who've actually had scientifically proven track records, and these people are the people that need the support. That to me seems, like I say, it's just willful ignorance. I mean, like it's like you want things to stay the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So do you want to get into the scanner traffic, the Oakland scanner traffic?
Oh, okay. It's a short thing because it's ongoing. It's not really news just yet. It's just something I think that people need to be aware of. We have a campaign happening right now where Oakland Police Department would like to encrypt their scanners. And if they do this scanner encryption, the only people who are going to be able to hear it are other Oakland police officers. There it is. Oakland Police to cut off public off from live radio feeds. Well, this is a very troubling proposition. And what makes it so troubling is like no body cams, right? And then no scanner. So a lot of people may not know this. I mean, journalists all know this, right? There actually is an outlet called the Berkeley Scanner. And the reason why it's called the Berkeley Scanner is because the woman who runs it, Emily Raguso, sits next to the radio listening to her Berkeley Scanner. And that is the police live feed. And the fact that it's so funny because they had to call it live radio feed because people, if they said scanner, people wouldn't know what you're talking about. But it is basically just them on their walkie-talkies, them on their CBs. Like talking about crimes, going to a crime, coming back from a crime, you know, and it's real time. It's real time. So not only do journalists depend on this for day-to-day, hour-to-hour reporting on police conduct, right? But it also allows us to record police conduct as it's happening in real time.
Yes.
Right. And so what we know for a fact is both Oakland and San Francisco had an issue with these guys doing these racist text messages to each other.
Yes.
Right. But you also can pick up on some of that stuff sometimes on the scanner.
Yes.
Right. Sometimes the scanner will give you that. And if you record that, then you have evidence of misconduct. And they know that. And so so basically what's happening is like we're trying to raise awareness about this because a lot of people don't even know that a scanner even exists or why is it useful to the public. So there's a lot of protests and outcry going on. They haven't given a date yet on when this is going to happen, but there is going to be a public outcry probably in front of the Oakland Police Department. So, I mean, the information I got, but like we're talking about, I got the information in the same place that KTVU got it. So we're both getting it from the same source. So this is an unfolding story that I'm just hoping that people pay more attention to than like, you know, it's not a small story. It's no small thing. And it makes us wonder why they want to do it in the first place.
Yes, because it's coming under the cover of Xavier Becerra, who basically came on behalf of the feds, the Department of Justice, and said, hey, you know, you guys, if you want to, you can cut off the public from this. Yeah. So almost like kind of giving them like a pass or maybe like a little hit, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, buddies, you know? And the thing is, yes, scanner traffic is so important. If you go to any newsroom, especially the daily newsrooms, like the television stations, the news desk, which is basically the kind of input, like the intake for all the news stories going on. Like that's where the start. Oh, I heard about this, or there's a plane crash here. I just heard about it. That they have like 4 or 5 scanners going all the time. Just sitting there, listen, just hanging out, just catching stuff. And a lot of stuff goes out. I mean, when the police don't know regular people are listening, that's when they kind of start, opening it up. A big story for me that I remember was that when I was working for policeone.com, a big story that passed was that a college journalist, a student journalist, was doing a ride along with a police officer in, I believe, North Carolina, possibly South Carolina. And the officer was responding to some reports of I believe a fight going on or something. And he described it as TNS. Now, what could that be? Typical N-word, S-word, yes.
See,
the journalist knew and heard this, was like, what? But this is the kind of stuff. This is how they talk to each other on these things. And they don't. So not only do they not want people to know what they're responding to, so they can, people can show up and actually see them in action, possibly, hurting somebody, that kind of thing. But they don't even want to hear what they're saying.
Right. And that right there is like really troubling. And I sincerely hope that the people, I mean, I'm glad that KTV got the story out there, but they made it too small. Yeah. And so people need to amplify this, because that's one of the ways that journalists protect you. Like, a lot of people don't understand the ways that journalists protect you. And one of the ways is we listen to that scanner, and we keep these guys on their P's and Q's, like, because they know that the public is listening. And if they know that the public is listening, we get fewer and fewer TNS statements. Yeah. So I think like, hopefully we can amplify this story to get the people mobilized to try to at least raise awareness enough to say, no, don't do that. We're not gonna let you do that.
Yes. Yeah, it's so true. Especially too, the journalists know how to handle the scanner traffic too. Yeah. There's a lot of scanner traffic that goes through that, the journalists have to go, oh, that's not anything yet. Wait on that. Like, especially during big, like, mass shootings or bombings and stuff. Actually, there was one journalist, Matthew Keys, who I hate with a passion of 1,000 suns. But he was first fired from working for Reuters because the thing he was doing was reporting scanner traffic during the Boston bombing.
Oh, he did that thing.
Yeah. And so thinking he was getting like, ahead of the story, getting some scoops, what he was actually doing was spreading misinformation.
Yeah. Same thing happened to the New York Times after what's his name? McVeigh. Same thing happened after McVeigh, Oklahoma City bombing. New York Times actually ran a story, said it was Muslims who were responsible because somebody had said it on the scanner. Like, they actually thought that at first and they ran with it. It's just, it's a dangerous practice, but you gotta know what you're doing. But it's also very important.
Yeah. So yeah, we should be watching out for that, because again, too, I mean, if they're cutting off the news stations like KTVU and stuff like that, their bread and butter is listening to scanner traffic, because that's how they fill their time. All the car accidents, all the shooting scenes. Sure, they're finding out about it after the fact, right? But still, that's filling it up. They're gonna hurt journalism.
Yeah,
with this.
Direct message to Henry K. Lee over at KTVU. Don't let them do that. You're out of a job.
Well, you notice he's the one that was reporting on it. That's
he already knows. I got it from people who are trying to organize the protest. He got it. He's going to help protest. Henry, help us protest this. Henry, if you're listening, you want to keep your job? Don't let them do this to you. You're going to be talking
kids to feed.
Yeah, because man, you can come on, man. You're into, like, talking about ice cream shops opening up and stuff, man. If you let them do this to you, you're going to be over there like at Fairyland talking about the new popcorn flavors. You better help us. Yeah, you better help us stop Dion Lim. You better help us stop this. You better help us.
Oh, man. I know. Or like, what does that really happen? What happens then is it becomes, you need to create, favors with the officers in order to get these stories. You're going to be depending on
still won't get
them
on. Yeah,
calling you.
And you still won't get them on time.
Yeah.
Like you have to be there to be lucky, right? So you have to get in your car the minute you hear it and hustle your butt over there. You know, you got to get that van over there, right?
Yes.
Henry, don't let them do it to you, man. They're going to do it to you. Don't let them. Don't let them do it to you. I'm talking directly to you, Henry.
You better be listening.
You better be listening, man.
So, anything else you want to wrap up with?
Oh man, let me think. Is there anything else crazy that's going on? Not crazy. I feel really good about what's been happening over here in Oakland over the past couple of weeks. It's very promising to see Barbara Lee get sworn in. It's very promising to see less pressure on us from the press. The press has decided seems to have left us alone a little bit. Like, you know, Chronicle isn't really fucking with us right now, which is neat.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that is, but I like it. And like, you know, I'm trying to think, is there anything else that's really like pressing? No, that's the thing that's really great. What's really great is there's not a whole lot of pressing things over on my end. I feel really bad for what people are going through in San Francisco right now. I feel really bad about what's going on, particularly with the drugs scene. Overdoses are up 50%.
Yes.
Overdose deaths are up 50% in San Francisco right now. That's very troubling, you know, because most of the time that's indicative. It can easily slip over that bridge. It can easily come over that bridge. So, I mean, I think that you need to, like, hopefully we'll be able to talk to the people at Gubbio. Hopefully we'll be able to draw some attention to that, more focus on that, and try to help people like parse it out and maybe help find solutions.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
there was the Tenderloin Center, and they seriously saw a massive dip in overdoses when that thing was running. But property values.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But you guys are going to have to like prioritize. I mean, like people are going to have to start prioritizing. The world has changed. Oh, and one other thing before I go, this is more esoteric thing. If you feel hate seeping into your heart during this time, you're not alone. Like the fact of the matter is like if you're a disenfranchised person, if you're an addict, if you are in poverty, like the people who are in power right now, they have no problem trying to seep that hate that they have in their heart into yours. And you're not alone with that. It's coming from all the way to the tippy top. It's coming all the way from the tippy top. Like that hate is pouring down from Trump. It's pouring through Hegseth. It's pouring through Bondi. It's pouring through Levitt. Like these people are actually pushing hate as a gig. They're pushing hate as a grift. And so, I mean, like on an esoteric level, like, you know, you might start feeling that hate, like slipping into your heart. But remember this, remember that you hate hate. And if you hate hate, you're going to fight hate no matter where you find it, especially when it's inside of you. So there.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, especially too. Yeah, seeing drug addicts being not victimized, but dehumanized. You know, and the homeless too. I mean, I'm in Berkeley. You know, leftist Mecca, Berkeley. It's so wonderful. No, right now there is a homeless camp, a pretty small homeless camp in Ohlone Park, which is kind of nearby me, by the North Berkeley BART station. And they're being demonized so hard. They were first demonized because they were by the high school. And, you know, one person, I think, like, grabbed a girl. And so that meant the whole camp had to go. And so now they moved to Ohlone, and now they're going after the people at Ohlone, you know, claiming, you know, there's feces everywhere. There's, you know, they're doing drugs out in the open. I walk there all the time. I don't see that, but you know, there's such high property values in Berkeley and a whole different residents. You know, there's a whole different community here. The old, you know, the people that remember the fight for free speech, the fight for People's Park, you know, the people that were like okay with nudists just showing up in the middle of Telegraph, those people are gone, or they're too old to really be out there and doing something. And there's like a new community here it's just less empathetic, and that's the thing. And it's like, yeah, that hate has started to seep in, even in places where you wouldn't expect it. So try to hate. Keep hating hate.
Keep hating hate, man. And like, and also, I mean, like the sister to hate is, of course, apathy. Yes. And so, like, you know, I mean, one of the ways that Kevin and I seem to keep ourselves inoculated is by keeping ourselves informed.
Yes.
You know, you can't be apathetic when you know what's going on. So that's another way to, you know, keep listening to Doomloop Dispatch. You know, like sign up to other podcasts, read newspapers while they're still here.
And follow us on all the socials too.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
and we'll give suggestions all the time to people to follow that, you know, so just so you keep in the know, and you know what's going on, you're aware, and you can hate that hate. You can fight that hate.
You can fight that hate. You can fight that hate in your heart.
And you can always, as we say,
keep fighting the good fight.
All right. Till next week, guys.
All right. Peace.
Peace.